When you think of the Middle Ages, what comes to mind? Probably cold, drafty castles, with nobles shivering in fur cloaks next to a massive, smoking fireplace. But what if I told you that image is almost completely wrong? Medieval engineers developed some of the most sophisticated, efficient, and healthy heating systems ever created, systems that modern architects are only now beginning to appreciate and rediscover. This isn't just a story about ancient technology, it's about a lost philosophy of comfort and sustainability that we're desperately in need of today. Our modern idea of progress is a straight line, always getting better. But history doesn't work that way. When the Roman Empire fell, centuries of knowledge about underfloor heating, thermal mass, and passive solar design vanished with it. The medieval period didn't just pick up where Rome left off, it had to reinvent everything, often creating even better solutions for the colder climates of Northern Europe. What made these methods so brilliant was their holistic approach. Your modern furnace blasts hot air into a room, creating a situation where your feet are freezing but your head is overheating. Medieval builders understood a secret we've forgotten: radiant heat, the kind that warms objects instead of air, feels much more comfortable at lower temperatures. They knew that storing heat in the very structure of a building was far more efficient than constantly burning fuel. In fact, modern research confirms this ancient wisdom. Studies show that radiant heat at 65 degrees Fahrenheit feels just as comfortable as forced air heat at 70 degrees. That means medieval systems provided the same level of comfort while using way less fuel. This wasn't a lucky accident, it was the result of centuries of trial and error in a time when every piece of firewood mattered for survival. Let's start with a gift from the Romans that medieval monks perfected: the hypocaust. This was an ingenious underfloor heating system. A furnace in the basement would burn fuel, and the hot air and smoke would be channeled through a hollow space under the stone floors and up through flues hidden inside the walls. While the Romans used it mostly for their bathhouses, medieval monasteries adapted it for continuous heating in their living and working quarters. Imagine being a monk in the 12th century, tasked with copying manuscripts for hours on end. The monastery's hypocaust would be strategically placed right under the scriptorium floor, keeping your feet and the entire room comfortably warm. The real genius, though, was the thermal mass. The thick stone floors would absorb heat all day and then slowly radiate it back out all night long, maintaining a stable temperature for up to 16 hours after the fire went out. Compare that to your modern furnace, which stops heating the second it turns off. These systems were silent, draft-free, and distributed heat perfectly evenly. Modern reconstructions of hypocausts have shown they use 30 to 40% less fuel than our conventional systems for the same level of comfort. And because the smoke was vented through the walls, the air inside remained clean. Archaeological digs have uncovered systems with adjustable dampers to control heat flow to different rooms and clever ash removal designs that let them run continuously. One German monastery even had a single furnace heating 14 different rooms, a level of central heating that wouldn't be seen again until the 19th century. Now, let's talk about what might be the masterpiece of medieval heating: the Kachelöfen, or tile stove. Originating in the Alps around the 13th century, these weren't just heaters, they were massive, beautiful works of ceramic art and engineering. And like a metal stove that gets intensely hot for a short time, a Kachelöfen was built from thick, heavy ceramic tiles designed to absorb heat slowly and release it gently over an incredible 12 to 24 hours. A single fire in the morning could keep a room cozy all day and through the night. The secret was inside. The hot smoke from the firebox didn't go straight up a chimney. Instead, it traveled through a long, maze-like series of ceramic channels, transferring almost all of its heat to the stove's massive structure before it ever escaped. This made them unbelievably efficient. Modern analysis of surviving medieval Kachelöfens shows they had an 80 to 90% efficiency rating. To put that in perspective, a traditional open fireplace is only 10 to 20% efficient. Even the best modern wood stoves barely match what these medieval craftsmen achieved. These stoves were also status symbols, often decorated with intricate scenes from the Bible or family crests, turning them into the centerpiece of the home. But the glazed tiles weren't just for show, they radiated heat more evenly and were easy to clean. A large catch elephant could weigh over 2,000 pounds, storing a tremendous amount of energy. Wealthy families would build them into the center of the house, so the warmth would radiate through the walls into multiple rooms. Today, there's a revival of catch elephant technology, and the results are astounding. One family in Austria built a home around a 15th century stove design and found they could heat their entire 2,000 square foot house with just 3 to 4 cords of wood a year. Less than half what their old 4-stair system used. They reported that the even, radiant heat eliminated cold spots and drafts, and the house felt comfortable at 65 degrees, whereas before they needed the thermostat set to 72. Finally, we have a system that sounds completely backward at first, the smoke kitchen, or Rauch. This was a kitchen with no chimney. Smoke from the central hearth would simply fill the room and rise up through the house, eventually escaping through vents in the roof. It seems primitive, but it was actually a highly advanced, multifunctional system that heated the entire home, preserved food, and protected the building itself. As the warm smoke rose, it passed through the upper floors and attic, heating every level of the house. This had a fantastic side effect: any meat or fish hung in the attic would be perfectly smoked for long-term preservation. The soot also coated the wooden beams, protecting them from insects and rot. In fact, buildings with smoke kitchens often have timber frames that are in pristine condition hundreds of years later. The soot acted as a natural fire retardant and pesticide, while the gentle warmth kept humidity low, preventing fungus. Modern analysis reveals that these smoke kitchens were surprisingly effective at distributing heat. The rising smoke transferred its warmth to the stone and clay walls and ceilings, which then radiated it back into the living spaces. Reconstructions show that the upper floors stayed nearly as warm as the ground floor, solving the common problem where all the heat rises and leaves the first floor cold. But what about the air quality? The idea of a smoke-filled house sounds awful. But recent research shows the smoke was highly diluted, and the constant airflow through the roof vents meant the rate of fresh air exchange was far higher than in our modern, tightly sealed homes. Some scientists even suggest that the stagnant air and chemical off-gassing in our homes today might contribute to respiratory problems that were less common then. The smoke kitchen, for all its smoke, had constant ventilation. This journey into medieval heating reveals a powerful truth: our ancestors were far more innovative than we give them credit for. Their systems were born from necessity and perfected over generations. The Hypocast's radiant floors, the catch elephant's thermal mass, and the smoke kitchen's whole house integration all use principles that today's green builders are rediscovering. What we lost wasn't just a set of technologies, but a whole philosophy. Medieval systems were patient, working with nature, not against it. They were integrated, serving multiple purposes at once. And they were sustainable, using local materials and renewable fuels with incredible efficiency. Our modern furnaces may be convenient, but that convenience has come at a huge cost to our comfort, our wallets, and our planet. As we face rising energy costs and a changing climate, perhaps the best way forward is to look back and relearn the lost wisdom that kept our ancestors warm for centuries. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more forgotten history.